You know, in the world of technology, some ideas come along that are so foundational, they literally change everything. Today, we're going to break down one of those game changers, Amazon's EC2, the service that basically put a virtual computer into the hands of anyone, anywhere on the planet. I mean, just stop and think about what that question really means. No more buying crazy expensive hardware, no more spending weeks setting up servers, and definitely no maintaining massive data centers. Just pure, raw computing power ready to go whenever you are. That right there is the core promise of the cloud. At its heart, the whole concept is incredibly simple, and that's what makes it so brilliant. The best way to think of EC2 is just renting a computer. Seriously. You pick the specs you need, you use it for as long as you want, and you only pay for the time you actually use it. It is that straightforward. Okay, so its official name is EC2, which stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. And that name, it tells you everything you need to know. That word, elastic, it means you can scale your resources up or down in an instant. It gives you exactly the power you need right when you need it. No more, no less. So why is this so insanely popular? Well, you can go from one virtual server to thousands, and back down to one again. You only pay for what you use, sometimes down to the second. And it's all built on Amazon's global, super secure infrastructure. This completely shifts your focus from worrying about hardware to just building your next great idea. All right, so to use this virtual computer, we need to understand its parts. Just like a physical PC you'd buy, it's got its own versions of a processor, memory, and storage. So let's pop the hood and look at the core building blocks. First up, the most basic component is the instance. From now on, whenever you hear someone say EC2 instance, I just want you to think virtual server. Simple as that. This is the core computer that you're actually using. Okay, so every computer needs an operating system, right? For EC2, that all starts with an AMI, which stands for Amazon Machine Image. The best way to think of it is as the blueprint for your server. It has the OS, like Linux or Windows, and any other software you want pre-installed. You just pick your blueprint, and boom, the foundation is laid. Of course, not all tasks require the same amount of power, and that's where instance types come in. They're basically just different models of computers. You can choose one that's optimized for really intense calculations, or one with a massive amount of memory, or just a simple general-purpose machine for, say, hosting a small website. Now, security is absolutely critical. A security group acts as the virtual firewall for your instance. You get to create the rules. You can say, only allow web traffic on port 80, or only let me connect from my home IP address. It is your digital bouncer, your first line of defense. But what about saving your data? You know, the important stuff. That's where EBS, or Elastic Block Store, comes in. Think of it as your persistent hard drive in the cloud. You attach an EBS volume, and any data you save there will stick around, even if you shut down your virtual server. It's storage that's built to last. Now, this is important to know. There is another type of storage called an instant store. Think of it like your computer's RAM. It's incredibly fast because it's physically attached to the host machine, but it's temporary. If you stop the instance, any data on an instant store is gone. Poof, forever. So for anything you actually need to keep, you always use an EBS volume. So we have all our building blocks. Now let's put them together and actually launch our very first instance. You're about to see just how easy this is. Launching an instance really just follows a simple logical checklist. First, you choose your software blueprint. That's the AMI. Next, you pick your hardware model, the instance type. Then you create a secure key so only you can get in, and you configure your firewall with a security group. Finally, you attach your persistent storage, your EBS volume, and you click Launch. And that's it. In just a few minutes, your virtual computer is live in the cloud. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what can you actually do with it? Well, let's look at a classic real-world example, hosting a website. Here's how it works in practice. So a user's request first hits an AWS service, like Route 53, which is kind of like the phone book for the internet. Then, a load balancer steps in to distribute the traffic, sending the request to one of your active EC2 instances. That instance, our little virtual server, processes the request and serves up your website. It's a totally seamless flow from the user's browser right to your application. But hey, launching a single server, that's just the beginning. The real power of EC2, that elastic part of its name, gets unlocked when you start using its more advanced features. This is where things get truly transformative. I'm talking about features like auto-scaling, where you can automatically add more servers when traffic spikes and then remove them when it's quiet. Or elastic load balancing, which spreads traffic across all your servers so no single one gets overwhelmed. You can even bid on spare computing power with something called spot instances to dramatically cut your costs. With auto-scaling, you're the boss. You define the rules. You set a minimum number of servers you always want running, and a maximum for those crazy peak times. The system then watches the demand and automatically adds or removes instances for you. It scales out to handle a huge surge in traffic, and then scales back in to save you money. It's intelligence and efficiency, totally automated. And this quote, it really gets to the core value of it all. EC2 frees you from the chains of physical hardware. It empowers developers and businesses of all sizes to build powerful, scalable applications, the kind that used to only be possible for massive companies with enormous resources. So that's EC2 in a nutshell, a powerful, flexible, and scalable computer that you can rent in the cloud. The building blocks are pretty simple, but the possibilities, they are truly endless. The only real question left is, now that you got this power at your fingertips, what will you build with it?